pasa, gente? Bienvenidos a los juegos del tu amor. Yo soy Mori, estamos ahí con Genshin Impact un día más. Nos quedaba por hacer una misión legendaria, que era la de Clorinde, y es la que vamos a mirar. Esta. Congregación de cazadores. Que es la que había que hacer con una especie de juego de rol y tal. Si os acordáis, en la anterior hicimos la de Cino, pero bueno, fue un poco rollete. En general no me gustó mucho. Aunque tuvo al final algunas peleas chulas y eso, pero no. Así que nada, ¿qué tal estáis? Espero que muy bien. Ya sabéis que me podéis dejar lo que queráis en los comentarios, darle a la campanita de las alertas, compartir el vídeo, suscribiros al canal, etcétera. Y por lo demás, me vais a perdonar hoy que tengo la voz súper tomada, pero es que me he levantado con la garganta irritada, con mocos, o sea que si no hablo mucho me lo perdonaréis hoy. Como veis, han quitado ya el gachapón. Mañana meterán el nuevo, supongo. Así que le tiraremos.
They really have thought of everything. Even the phaetometer is here and ready to go for us.
The phaetometer?
It's a card that's used to determine action success or failure.
And what about all the dessert and tea?
That's what the message said.
Really? That's so nice.
Those snacks have Paimon's name written all over them.
I think you might be more of a snack hunter than a marachose hunter, Paimon.
Snack hunter Paimon reported for duty. If there are delicious snacks to be found, Paimon will track down every last one.
The desserts are great. But I'm still looking forward to the story more than anything.
Very fair. Then, let us begin. First, please pick up the blank character cards in front of you, and write down your name and profession. You can find an abbreviated version of the rules printed on the back of your character card. If you have, in this story, everyone is a marachose hunter. To reflect this, the club has prepared a small badge for everyone.
Ooh, nice!
As hunters, you have proficiency in swordsmanship and fighting by default, so there's no need to allocate any additional skill points to those areas.
Swordsmanship? So there's a fighting part to all this?
Why don't you share a character card then? The Traveler will be the marachose hunter, and you can be her little floating assistant.
Huh. Kinda like in real life.
So, for the name, do I fill it out with the name of my character?
Yep. It can be any name you like.
You can use your real name too if you want. I do that whenever I get too lazy to think of a new name.
Oh, so it would be like experiencing a different life.
In that case, I think I'll continue to use the name Linny then.
Next up is the skill sheet. You have a limited amount of skill points that you can use to learn a number of skills. The more points you invest in a particular skill, the easier it will be to pass associated checks.
O sea que realmente es como un juego de rol. O sea, está.
I'll take persuasion and investigation.
Oh, those skills sound like they'd be useful for gathering intelligence. Good idea, Navia.
So, should we also take those skills then?
Not necessarily. Since we're working together as a team, we could leave the negotiations to Navia and use our skill points to pick up other useful skills. For example, I think I'll take stealth and sleight of hand. That will...
Oh, interesting. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I suppose it... Let me see. I'll take arts and performance.
Well, that leaves us. What do you want to learn, traveler? Oh, something that'll help you get a read on other people's thoughts. Sounds useful. Ooh, so you want to help people when they're injured. That's nice of you. So what do you think? Are you sure you want to learn these 2 skills?
Let's see. Oh, looks like you each have enough points to choose one final skill.
You've all picked such classic skills. It's fine to go a little bit out of the box, you know.
Why do I get the feeling she's getting ready to cause trouble?
For example, this one here. Summon. Doesn't...
Oh, I saw that one just now as well. The description says, this skill can be...
The script's world-building rules, huh?
Oh, that's not for us to worry about, my friend. Just learn the skills that interest you, and the GM will take care of the rest.
All right, you've convinced Paimon. Let's learn summon then. Paimon can't wait to see what kind of thing shows up.
Well, now that everyone's more or less finished creating their characters, since 2 of our players are doing this for the first time though, let me ask. Would you like to play on easy mode or authentic mode?
What's the difference between the 2?
Well, in role-playing games, the story sometimes changes based on the decisions of the players and the results of the Fatometer. For example, if you fail a check, that means you cannot use the target skill in that scenario. A critical failure may... If you choose to play in authentic mode, every time you elect to use a skill, you'll need to use the Fatometer to see whether you succeed or... If you choose easy mode instead, every check will be successful by default, and you won't have to worry about luck playing a factor.
Given that I'd like to focus on the story, I suppose I should pick easy.
Huh? Oh, come on. Don't worry about that. RNG is the lifeblood of role-playing games. Never knowing what you might have to overcome. Ugh, doesn't that sound exciting?
I'd rather be mentally prepared for what might happen.
All right, then I'll mark down Farina for easy mode. All her checks will be successful by default. As usual, not...
What about you, dear partner? How would you like to play?
No sé yo qué deciros. Venga, vamos a la genuina. Quien no arriesga no gana.
Are you sure?
Trust me, you'll see the beauty of RNG. Honestly, I don't think Clorinde would make things too difficult for us, no matter what the Fatometer says.
No promises.
That wasn't super reassuring.
Well, anyway, enough talk. Let's get started.
Speaking of the story, why is the beginning scene on a beach?
Well, that's because... a long time ago, back when human civilization was still in its infancy, powerful demons and evil sorcerers ruled. Soon, a group of human rebels banded together. With their swords raised, they swore to brave the darkness.
Ah, digo, se ha quedado pillado. No, es que está... Es que es una pantalla de carga. Con las insignias. Tan bonitas. Y nuestro té, nuestra barajita.
Sometime later, as a member of the Marechaussee Hunters, you receive a commission. As you inhale, you can taste the slightly salty air of the docks. As you begin to survey your surroundings, your eyes meet. And you realize these people are fellow Marechaussee Hunters.
You're all Marechaussee hunters too, right? allow me to introduce myself. The name's Navia. What say you to traveling together? We can help.
Okay, count me in. My name is Linny. I've been wandering since I was little and picked up a few less than legal tricks along the way.
Is this where you introduce your character to everyone? My name is Farina, and, I grew up in a noble family.
Hey, that's really cool. You can do it, Farina.
Paimon is Paimon, a good friend and companion to this Marashosei hunter right here.
I've been studying medicine ever since I was a child. I want to do my part to eradicate these monsters and use what I've learned to heal others.
Mira,
Oh, welcome,
la viajera
welcome.
médica.
When we face the monsters, I'll make sure to charge in front to give everyone some cover.
You open your envelopes at the same time. The message reads, To the honorable and trustworthy Marashosei hunters, our kingdom is currently facing a grave crisis. The lands outside the capital have been overtaken by monsters, and our people are being...
Huh. The layout of this city looks super familiar.
The scriptwriter must have used a real-world city as a reference when coming up with the map.
As experienced hunters, the layout of the city reminds you of places once traveled. Yet, as you regard the city in front of you, it appears to be little more than an empty shell.
I carefully read every line of the letter and turn my attention to the signatures at the bottom.
You see a long string of unfamiliar names. It would seem that many of the residents of the city
In that case, why don't we take a walk around the city and see if we can learn anything from the local residents?
Oh, good idea. We might be able to get some leads on the monsters and bad guys we're after.
You look up and see a tavern nearby. It appears to be open for the day.
Why don't we go check out that tavern? If the novels I've read are anything to go by, taverns are usually full of information.
Bueno, pues consigue información en la taberna.
As you approach the tavern, you find a plainly dressed woman standing nearby. She appears to be rather troubled about something.
Pues hombre, de momento está chulo.
Greetings, friend. Lovely weather we're
Por
having
lo menos
today,
es
don't you
original.
think?
Oh, hello.
En comparación con el resto de
Right.
misiones legendarias.
The weather today is quite lovely.
It seems like every character included in the script has a certain amount of useful information to offer.
Oh, come now. Don't be sad. Life is all about optimism.
Huh?
I don't think that's the kind of question we're supposed to ask.
Nothing turns a frown upside down like good food. How about some macarons?
You didn't even take cooking as one of your skill proficiencies.
That's not necessary, miss. Excuse me for saying this, but you don't really look like a chef.
So you're someone who barely smiles and doesn't like sweets. You're really starting to remind me of this one friend of mine. Hey! Did she just... me?
Clorinde must have broke character for a second.
This isn't getting us anywhere. Traveler, maybe you can think of something.
The results of insight checks aren't disclosed to the players, so I'll be the one consulting the fatometer. You recall all the lessons you've learned in your time. You notice that when she's quiet, she has an empty look in her eyes, as if her thoughts have drifted to a place far... so you noticed... That's... A horde of monsters suddenly appeared near the capital recently, so all the guards were dispatched to fight them.
Do you remember when those monsters appeared?
I'm not completely sure, All I know is that my husband was dispatched to fight them 3 days ago.
Do you know where?
It all happened so fast.
You have our thanks, friend. We'll find and defeat those monsters as soon as possible. We sincerely hope your husband will be able to return to your side soon.
Thank you.
Don't worry. We'll find him. Just try to remain optimistic, and we don't always get to choose what happens to us. But we do get to choose the little things, like what we eat and how we respond to the thing.
I'll do my best. You bid farewell to the woman, and continue your journey further into the city. As you venture further into the city, the streets appear largely empty. An elderly woman walks past. You see her shake her head as she puts away her wrinkled wallet. A nearby merchant folds his arms and gives you a disdainful look. You get the impression that he's someone who has long gotten used to the sight before him.
Although he doesn't seem very friendly, merchants are usually a good source of information, right?
Pardon me, sir. I'd like to ask a question if I may.
That depends. How much are you willing to pay?
How about this much?
What do you take me for? Some lowly beggar? You can't even buy half an onion with that amount.
Surely an onion can't be that expensive.
What do you know? War's nearly upon us. Everything costs several times what it did before.
Whoa, what a nasty guy. Maybe we shouldn't even bother talking to him.
But he still might have information we need. Sir, we came to this city to solve the very problem you seem to be referring to. The war you mentioned. If you happen to be well informed and know a thing or two about what's going on, we'd appreciate it if you could share that information with us.
Well, things are basically as you said, young lady. Those monsters are camped outside the city, and they've been destroying all our trade routes. We have limited reserves within the city, so if this continues, we're all gonna be in big trouble.
Wait, you're saying no one has put a plan in place to distribute supplies or...
We could all starve, and those nobles in the palace wouldn't even... Who knows? Maybe they...
That is concerning.
All right. That's all the information you need, right?
You know, if you smiled a little more, you'd definitely get more business.
Should we try to go somewhere with more people?
Oh, how about the city square? Follow me.
Before you lies the city's central square. You see a man with a slightly anxious look on his face.
Lo que falta aquí es la
back
fuente.
and forth, his head hanging
La fuente
low.
se la ha llevado. Piedra a piedra.
He doesn't seem to notice your approach. Still immersed in his own thoughts, he shakes his head and lets out a long sigh.
This guy seems promising enough. Maybe I can get some information out of him. Hello, sir. Is there any...
Wait, you're...
I'm...
Oh, dear goodness! You're a Marechaussee hunter!
You recognize us? Ah,
Yes! Oh, I didn't expect you to actually come. Oh,
What happened here?
alas, we once lived comfortable, carefree lives. This, however, monsters have once again surrounded the city. Perhaps the seal that kept...
Are there not enough soldiers to drive them out?
It's not a question of numbers. The guards simply have no idea how to deal with them. Most people my age have never even seen one of the monsters, much less been trained to fight against them. When I was a child, though, my grandfather would tell me stories about how the Marashose hunters drove back. To be perfectly honest, I was starting to think all those stories were just tall tales.
Well, you can rest easy, friend. The righteous and formidable Marashose hunters are on the...
The man is touched by your determination and resolve. His eyes begin to well with tears of relief.
Still, if we are going to hunt the monsters, we need to know where to find them. Can you give us any
All I know is that the area outside the city is dangerous. Oh, although, if you leave the capital through the main gate and follow the road, you...
I see. We'll go look for them then.
All right. Be careful. Oh, and one last thing. The monsters outside the city are just... They're actively working with the monsters, and have corrupted the court ministers with malicious magic. Even one of our kindest ministers has turned into a boorish and unreasonable figure, interested in nothing but enacting laws that exploit the people.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I feel bad for him. Maybe we should try to cheer him up?
like, now?
I appreciate your kindness, but for now, it's more important to focus on the crisis at hand. Brave hunters, I leave the future of this kingdom to you.
Bueno, pues básicamente estamos en Mostrar y tenemos que luchar contra los monstruos diabólicos.
If I understood correctly, there are currently 2 problems in the kingdom that need...
Exactly. We need to defeat the monsters outside the city, and...
But which problem should we tackle first?
Well, this seems like a good moment for a break.
I really didn't expect the people in the city to keep us at arm's length like that. I totally thought the hunters would be treated like heroes.
Well, Clorinde said the script took cues from the real history of Fontaine, right?
I wouldn't say it's a perfect representation of history, but there are definitely some similarities.
Sure. As long as it doesn't spoil anything in the script. You brought up bits and pieces of the hunters' history before.
Paimon wants to know too. The hunters were super powerful, right? Were they all from a special line of supernatural beings or something?
No. All Marashose hunters were ordinary mortal fighters. The only thing that set them apart were the...
Huh? So you mean anyone could become a Marashose hunter?
In theory, yes. All you would need to do is survive the rigorous training and master the swordsmanship. Still, most people dropped out at the early stages. And others called it quits the minute they saw a monster in person.
What kind of monsters did the hunters fight exactly?
The land of Fontaine once played host to an ancient dynasty known as Rapperia. After that dynasty fell, one of the ancient sorcerers of Rapperia used his power to assemble a formidable army of golems. He sought to use that force to establish himself as king.
Now, wait a second. Don't tell me that guy was the inspiration for the evil sorcerer in the script.
Well, I wasn't planning on going into anything you might be able to find out in the game. But if you want me to talk about something else, then...
Wait, but those people are all from a super long time ago.
From my master.
Huh. By master, you mean Miss Petronia?
Someone you know?
Absolutely. Miss Petronia and my father were good friends.
Let's not get off topic. Responding to Egeria's call, a number of warriors followed Cassiodor into battle against the monsters. This group of warriors, under Cassiodor's leadership, became... Yet, as Fontaine entered an era of peace, their work gradually became obsolete.
I see. That explains why most of the people in the script have forgotten the hunters or think of them as nothing more than a legend.
Insisto, lo que os he dicho al principio. Disculpadme si no hablo mucho, pero es que estoy súper congestionado, vamos, es que, bueno, me imagino que me lo notaréis en la voz.
Is that really a bad thing, though? It can get tough always being the one shouldering everyone.
Depends on who you ask, I suppose.
Speaking of investigations, which problem should we tackle first? Monsters or
Pues a por
evil
el que
sorcerer?
queráis, me da igual.
I vote monsters.
Me da igual que me da lo mismo.
That's the main duty of the hunters, right? We can come back to this.
Well said, Miss Farina. Plus, if the sorcerers really are the masterminds behind this whole thing,
What about you, partner? What do you think? It's decided then.
All right. After some discussion, you decide to turn around and head out of the city.
Let's take a look around, like that guy said.
You there, outsiders, halt!
Who's there?
An armored man approaches you. He has a tall, muscular build. Although he's trying his best to conceal his current state, his uneven gait and I'm the captain of the guard. I saw you sneaking around the city earlier, so state your purpose, or it's off to the dungeons for the lot of you.
Wow, it's been a while since someone's been this suspicious of us.
I said talk, not whisper between yourselves.
Have you ever heard of the Marchese hunters?
Marachose hunters? Ha! That fairy tale, you mean? What?
Sir, we were indeed in the city earlier, but your guards are still fighting the monsters as we speak. They could be seriously wounded and in grave need of support.
The man regards you with doubt and concern. After a period of inner struggle, those monsters aren't easy to deal with. But if you insist on going, I won't.
De momento estamos teniendo suerte con las cartas. De dos que hemos sacado, las dos las hemos superado. Y eso que le hemos dicho que jugábamos al juego original. Dirígete a las profundidades del bosque.
Based on what the captain said, the monster should be right up ahead. Let's go. Hopefully we're not too late.
As you approach the battlefield, you see numerous people lying by the side of the road. They appear to be dressed like guards. Their faces are filled with desperation and terror. Some are screaming and cursing in vain, as if still trying to banish the monstrosities they saw from their minds. A few of the wounded look up at you in shock and disbelief. Quick, leave this place. Turn around and don't look back, they yell.
This is the place he mentioned, right?
You see broken iron swords scattered all around you, and downed trees riddle. All the signs point to one thing. A truly devastating battle just...
Be on your guard, everyone. The monsters might still be around.
Before you can finish your sentence, you hear rustling sounds from the surrounding bushes. The monsters have emerged. They close in on you without fear, You get the impression that, in their bloodthirsty eyes, you're just another meal for them to
A little help here! This thing wants to eat Paimon!
Your battle round begins. Now.
Poder de combate aumentado. Anda, si llevo a Furina, Linnea y Navia, qué guapo. Le.
The next battle round begins now.
Step right up.
¿Y este bicho? Hostias, ¿de dónde has sacado este bicho, macho?
Let's get this show on the road.
Qué chulo, tío.
The monsters let out a terrifying roar of anger and resentment before dissipating.
Oh, thank goodness it's over.
We're lucky the Marachose Hunter class came with all those preset skill points.
I never knew the photometer even determines the amount of damage you inflict. If you get unlucky...
That's part of the fun.
Just as you begin to celebrate your victory, a suspicious lump on the ground catches your attention.
A suspicious lump. Wait, could...
I walk up to it, crouch down, and begin to carefully examine it. I've still got my right glove on, so it should be fine for me to touch it, right?
As you investigate the mound, you discover that the exposed portion appears to be made of wood. It was previously obscured by the large form of the monsters. With the monsters gone, the small protrusion now awaits your discovery. Poking out...
Whoa, it's a treasure chest!
With everyone's help, you successfully excavate the wooden chest from the ground, even without opening it. You can tell from the mora and jewels scattered around.
Makes sense. We worked hard for this. Let's open it and we can share what's inside.
I can understand your excitement, Paimon, but think about it. Doesn't it seem like there are people out there who need this treasure more than us?
Yeah. Think about all the people suffering in the capital. Or all those guards who got hurt fighting the monsters.
Wait, is that how it works?
Well, let's put it this way. Any decision you make during a role-playing game...
But would the people really believe us? It's hard enough for us to prove we're Marachose hunters.
That's definitely something we should consider. Maybe we can come up with an explanation in advance.
Well, if donating it could cause that much trouble, why don't we use it to buy some gear and fill up on good food?
Looks like you're facing a difficult choice once again. Well, it's getting late. Why don't we call it a day for now?
Wow, where did the time...
I'm not sure if it's because I'm having so much fun with you all, or because the story is particularly enticing.
Here, here. Ooh, how about we play through the night?
Yeah, that won't work for me either. Lynette will give me an earful if I get home too late.
I understand how you feel, Navia, but we have to change venues for the next part of the story anyway.
Huh? Another location?
Mm-hmm. There's a special note for the GM at the end of this section that says to proceed to an...
Whoa, they really pulled out all the stops for this new script.
Well, even if we end the game for the day, we can still...
Something tells me you just want...
That's just a coincidence, okay? Besides, to Paimon not finishing free food feels even worse than And anyway, Paimon really really does want to hear more about Clorinde.
Well,
It's nothing. I appreciate the concern. My earliest memories are of living with Master. According to her, she saved me from certain people of ill repute.
What a heavy...
Master was a fascinating individual. My first ever toy was a short sword. Although I suppose it wasn't so much a toy as something...
Oh, wait, so she handed an actual sword to a child?
Of course I did. I cut my palm and bled quite a lot. But Master was not concerned. See, that's what you get for not holding the sword properly, she told me. She then crouched down next to me and said,
Excuse me for asking this, Clorinde, but how old were you exactly?
probably around,
3? Isn't that when most kids are still struggling to hold a fork?
As I said, Master was rather inexperienced in the ways of raising children.
I'm not so sure this is a question of experience.
I didn't see anything wrong with her ways at the time. And anyway, children don't get to choose how they're raised. Oh, she did bring me back a pet from Liyue once.
A Geovicious hatchling? For a pet? That seems even more dangerous.
What she said was this: make sure to get along, you two. If you really can't agree on something, just,
And how old were you when this happened?
5.
Well, did you win?
No, I lost.
So, you're saying you actually became the...
Yes, but only for a week. By the end of that week, I defeated it in combat.
That really doesn't sound like the kind of childhood someone should have.
Later on, I gradually understood that Master most likely didn't know any other way to raise a child. Thanks to her, I learned how to navigate the forest by the age of 6, and could hunt monsters in the wild by myself the year. Even though the training she subjected me to was strict, she always made sure to take me traveling when she had the time.
I still remember the first time we met. You were too scared to join our picnic, and
I still hadn't really met many.
after that, though, you started coming over a lot. You loved challenging people to shooting competitions, remember?
I had a lot of fun during those days.
I enjoyed them too. Oh, we tried to pretend like we never heard anything, but
Protector of justice. Oh, wait, you mean that vigilante hero from...
Yep, that would be her. She often would put on a black cloak and go out at night.
20 years ago, huh? I still remember the guards leaving...
My apologies.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. Although, calling herself the Protector of Order was a bit much. Especially...
Huh? When did the Protector of Justice become the Protector of Order?
Oh, she had a bunch of code names. I heard she would just come up with a name on the spot when later on, she probably got sick of answering those questions and just...
That sounds like her, all right. I bet she forgot which of the two she'd use by the time she got back each night.
Well, she certainly sounds like a fascinating individual.
It's true. I always wanted to become like her. Someone powerful.
But...
She suddenly disappeared the night I turned 10 years old.
Disappeared? What happened?
I have no idea. That night, I was celebrating my birthday at Navia's house. But Master never came to pick me up. When she still didn't appear after a few days, I went to Mr. Callus's house to ask about her whereabouts.
Papa probably didn't know either. I know he sent a few people to investigate the matter in secret.
Don't worry, I understand. To be perfectly honest, just like how, when a litter of kittens reaches a certain age...
Were you upset, Clorinde?
I was at first, but not anymore.
Well, despite everything, you still managed to follow in her footsteps and become the greatest champion duelist in all of Fontaine.
I suspect my position would be far too by the...
Who knew Clorinde had such an interesting past? I wonder... Clorinde's master were the champion duelists back then. Oh no. Judging by the atmosphere, Clorinde and Navia are probably thinking something similar.
Well, anyway. Would you look at the time?
I had a great time today, Miss Clorinde.
Anytime.
The script was good, but I've got to say, Hey, you should tell us more about that fight against the Geo-Bishop sometime.
You could be right.
What does she mean, on to something? I certainly don't know any 5-year-olds who want to fight a bishop in their spare time. Guess I'll head back as well. I need to save my energy if I want to continue enjoying the story tomorrow.
You're that excited to hear about my fight with the bishop?
I was talking about the script.
Bueno, pues hemos completado la primera parte. Voy a grabar 5 minutillos más. Espera hasta las 8 de la mañana del día siguiente. Ay.
Let's go meet up with the group. Paimon's really looking forward to today's story.
Espera un segundo. Espera un segundo que hay muchos cangrejos aquí. Muchos cangrejos que me vienen muy bien luego para los estofados. Yo los estaba viendo de fondo de los personajes y estaba yo pensando, como me dejen, los pesco a todos. A ver. Aquí para acá. Vaya, justamente este teletransporte no está activado. Vaya por Dios. Bueno, pues yo creo que lo activaremos. Como ya hemos empezado la segunda parte, espero que sean 3 partes y no 5 como en la misión anterior. Aquí tenemos a las chicas otra vez. ¿Esto dónde está? Espera, un segundo. Hay un hidróculus por ahí. Me indica un hidróculus por ahí. Pero estará ahí arriba, supongo, ¿no? Bueno, míralo. Estoy viéndolo desde aquí, o sea que... vamos para allá. O sea que es como si entráramos en un dominio, ¿no? Esta va a ser la típica parte de estas misiones en las que hay que entrar en un dominio. Parece. ¿O no?
Looks like everyone's here. Now, before we begin, why don't we finish where we left off yesterday?
Is that really the most important part, though? Heavy walls, cold railings.
I admire the work put into the set. Still, it's...
So this set is going to be a part of the script?
Unfortunately, that is something I can neither confirm nor...
Anyone think Clorinde's smile is...
Well, whatever happens, we'll just have to push on. But first, we should really figure out what to do with this treasure. If we're worried about arousing suspicion because of our identity, why don't we give ourselves a different name?
Yeah, It might be better to keep a low profile.
Staring at me won't get you anywhere. Or did you want some more tea?
Oh, Paimon's good. Why aren't you saying anything, Navia?
Oh, this is the short sword Clorinde mentioned last night.
Huh.
Well, I made sure to take good care of it. Anyway, where were we? Oh, right. I was just thinking about all...
Wait, we haven't been thrown into prison yet.
Well, it's only a matter of time. It pays to be prepared. Just...
Alright, Paimon's made up her mind. Let's just give the treasure away. Paimon may have wanted to keep it, but if it's going to land us in prison somehow, Paimon will be too upset to enjoy her snacks.
So, you reached an agreement? All right then.
Oh, and we'll collect all the scattered pieces of treasure on the ground as well.
All right. You collect the treasure and make your way back to the capital with your bag of loot in hand.
Bueno, pues más o menos lo vamos a dejar por aquí. Ahora en cuanto nos den libertad para seguir moviéndonos y eso, lo vamos a dejar. Y en el siguiente espero que podamos acabarla. Pues tiene pinta de ser larga, porque estamos todavía en la segunda parte de la misioncilla.
The city is still shrouded in a gloomy, oppressive atmosphere.
Bueno,
Your spirits are in places where
yo de todas formas lo voy a grabar a continuación de este, con lo cual me vais a seguir escuchando con esta voz de zombie.
Thank you, kind soul. The elderly woman's look of gratitude follows you as you walk away. Her eye.
She's probably trying to tell us to speed this up. We need to hurry.
Should we go find that man again at the square? He seemed like a pretty responsible guy.
Oh, good idea.
Just as you start to make way to the square, intent on finding... Please wait, distinguished guests. Several strange guards suddenly call out to you. They run forward to meet you and...
Greetings, gentlemen. Are we being invited for afternoon tea?
Surely you jest, my lady. That would not be our place.
Well, we have to investigate the court.
If something happens, we'll just turn the whole place upside down.
That sounds a little intense.
After a quick discussion, you nod to the guards, and gilded tables line both sides of the hall. The space itself is adorned with all manner of expensive antiques.
Wow, it's...
The elderly king, clad in a magnificent robe, he wears above his head a majestic crown, with a gemstone the size of a bird's egg set right at the... They're here, your majesty. A man dressed in dark clothes, likely a minister, shields his mouth with his hands. After a moment, he lowers his hands and stands back up.
The king does not appear entirely aware of his surroundings.
The king remains still and says nothing. Esteemed guests, allow me to thank you for coming to our faraway kingdom. Unfortunately, I've heard tell that your group, the Marechaussee Hunters, used your exceptional ability with the sword to repel the monsters. However, seeing that I was not fortunate enough to observe such a feat...
Well, we've got nothing to hide. You brought us here to talk, right? The golem's blades were so powerful, they could cut down trees in a single swipe. It took a lot of effort to defeat them, even for trained swordsmen like us.
Bueno, gente, pues como parece ser que no nos van a dejar que salgamos del juego de rol, lo voy a cortar por aquí y seguimos en el próximo. Así que nada, es bastante original, me está gustando, espero que os haya gustado, también a vosotras y vosotros, gracias por pasar, y ya sabéis, sed buenas, sed buenos, sed felices, y si os apetece, pues acabamos la historia hasta el próximo. Así que nada, un abrazo, chao, chao.